I'm Kayla Dominic.
I'm Amanda Tan.
And I'm Tony Yang, and today we are doing a podcast over Every Last One by Anna Quidlin.
I'm going to start off with our protagonist, Mary Beth Latham. She is the main character, and she is married to Glenn and has 3 kids named Ruby, Max, and Alex.
Yeah, and she's also a landscaper, and the only time she actually gets to herself is in the mornings before she starts her day with the family.
One of her traits is that she's a very trusting person. There's this one time where one of her workers asked if he could get his pay in early, and he got the pay early, but he also left without working. There's also this time where one of the workers stole tree buds from one of her clients' houses, and they found him at a motel, and one of the employees ratted him out. She also trusts Kiernan after Kiernan shows way too many red flags to Ruby.
Okay, speaking of Kieran, he's the antagonist, and he is Ruby's ex-boyfriend. She broke up with him, and he just got crazy, and he lives in their garage, and
Oh yeah, Kieran would take pictures of the family while they were asleep and put them on like a board saying "perfect family."
I also think the craziness came from him doing the hard drugs, when he was in the garage.
Kieran was like obsessed with the family ever since he was like a little kid because he was like an only child and they were neighbors when they were young. I think he like became too obsessed where he wanted to be in the family forever. So when Ruby broke up with him, I think he started going crazy.
I think it was also because his parents are divorced, so he's never really had a perfect family.
And with that being said, Ruby is the connection that he has with the family. Ruby is becoming a teenager, and she wants to start having a teenage life. She wants her privacy with her mom and her family. And do you have anything to say about Ruby?
Ruby is also very into poetry and writing. She wanted to go to college for poetry. She used to write poems about Kiernan and her family.
I also feel like she was a little too nice about the breakup and should have been more lenient, or not lenient, more
Strict?
Yeah, more strict with him, because like he gave her a ring and he would pop up and put it on her pillow even though she like threw it away.
Kiernan's weird. And then
Literally.
Kiernan was actually super close to Max. Max actually really liked Kiernan. Max was like the emo kid of the family, where he was like really sad and depressed. He also really liked playing the drums and was very trusting of people. There was this one time at summer camp where he fell out of a tree and he broke his arm, so he couldn't play the drums.
He's also really jealous of his twin brother Alex, because Alex is like the perfect child. Not really, but he plays sports, and so his parents like really like him.
He was like the jock of the family. Like everybody, when people are athletes, they like are held up higher than others.
Yeah. His Mary Beth didn't care, but gave more attention to Ruby and Max because Alex didn't show any like problems of like mental illness or anything. Someone who helped Max and Alex with their mental illness was Dr. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's the therapist.
Vagalos, I think.
Anyways, he first started off as Max's therapist. Max would talk to him about his problems, about his depression, and he actually really helped Max before he died by Kiernan.
Oh, we can't forget Glenn, the husband.
Oh.
Glenn is the husband to Mary Beth. He is a guy of routine and habit. He is a doctor and mainly the breadwinner of the family. Do you have anything?
We can talk about Mary's mom. Mary's mom was very supportive of Mary and wanted to help her after her whole family was killed. She was actually a big help when she could move all of everyone's possessions in the old house to the new house when they moved because Mary Beth was too scared to go to the old house.
She also stood up for Mary Beth in the hospital when all the doctors were saying that she has no more family, and she was screaming at them, telling them that she still has a son alive, which is Alex.
For the themes of the story, I think we should I think we learned that you shouldn't trust people way too easily. Also, how you should ignore the red flags. I mean, you shouldn't ignore the red flags. And that there's no such thing as a perfect home or family.
Yeah, the perfect home and perfect family is a really main theme because of the simple fact that how we said in the beginning, Mary Beth,
She struggled a lot raising their family with Ruby, with Max, how the everyone in their family had like their own thing going on.
and they portrayed an image that made it seem like they were perfect, but at the end of the story, when everybody is basically murdered, that shows like life can actually happen to people.
Yeah, like when she's like coping with her family's loss, she like remembers everyone's problems. This story takes place in a suburban neighborhood in Maine.
To start off with the conflicts,
Yeah.
it begins when Ruby and Kiernan were dating, and then she got tired of him because he was being weird, so she broke up with him, and that caused him to just like become more crazy. He would show up into her room, and
He would like take pictures of the family, and most of the family members, well, just Ruby and Alex, they knew he was living in the garage, but they didn't say anything. Sarah and Rachel, Ruby's friends, also knew that Kiernan was living in their house, but they also did not say anything. I think Kiernan was not sober on New Year's Eve, and he killed the whole family when he was obsessed with them. He killed mainly everyone while Mary Beth was asleep, and he didn't get to kill Alex because Alex was away on a Colorado trip. At our final point, we'd like to discuss the author's style. I don't think any of us really enjoyed the pacing of the book. It was very slow and boring, and like it didn't really get exciting until the murder. Like it felt like just a normal everyday life story.
Right. I also felt like it was very detailed, which made the story drag a lot, which made it like hard to keep us grabbed into the story, like our attention focused. But it's how Tony said, it did pick up when the murder started happening because that's the interesting part of the story.
I actually really like how she wrote about Mary Beth and Alex coping. Like it felt very real, and like the emotions were there.
but I don't really like how she didn't really talk about the murder a lot. Like it's in the book, but she didn't like really talk about when it happened.
Yeah, I want to like get into details of
Yeah.
how everyone died. That'd be so cool.
Okay. And like it happened, and then she just woke up in the hospital. Like they didn't really go into detail about anything, so it was like really boring. And that's supposed to be the most interesting like part of the book.
And I think that is all for us.
Yeah.